Yes, everybody. Oh, yeah. What's up? We vibing out here. Episode 2 of Correct Wing Weekly. What's up, everybody? 5:08 p.m. Eastern Time. Took a second to get started, but I'm here with you. Hello. Welcome to the program, Correct Wing Weekly, broadcasting on the Last American Pubcast and, of course, Let's Be Frank, the channel. Replays go solely to Last American Pubcast, and they also get uploaded to my podcast platform, which is called Call Me Ignorant. Yay! Everybody say it in the chat right now. Your king commands it. What's good with you? Correct Wing Weekly. It's the second episode. There's a fly. Where's it at? I almost got it. I didn't get it. I can tell I didn't. I would have felt it squish in my hands. Correct Wing Weekly is a news show. It's an amazing show. Frankly, the best show. Only the second episode, frankly, the best show. Let's be frankly about the whole thing. Attacking the right from the right, trying to reform the right, the correct wing, if you will. Hope all is well. We got Pete Quinones coming on in 50 minutes, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Pete is a former libertarian. He's been on my show a couple times. And we're going to be talking about institutional takeover. I got some current events to talk about. Not a lot of things happened in the news in the last week. We just have a lot of people saying stuff. Climate change is back in the news. I hope you guys aren't falling for it. Hope all is well. I want you to remind you to definitely hit that like button, hit that share button. Try to get the name out there, especially on the Last American Pubcast. I got Big Daddy Let's Be Frank, and then we have the smaller version of Let's Be Frank, which is called Last American Pubcast. And I believe that show is 7 p.m. on Saturdays, so do check that out. But my name is Steven Ignoramus. Hope all is well out there. You can follow me on Twitter at IggyNormus. It's going across that beautiful little ticker at the bottom of the screen. Let's say a giant hello to the people out there in the live chat, and we'll get things started. Got a little news roundup. Guest Pete Quinones is coming on in 50 minutes. Talking Christian nationalism, right-wing, things from a right-wing perspective. Hello. Salutations. KDZ in the building. Life to the Max. Linda Nelson. Hello. Timothy Plonk. Woofy Productions. Yay. Horatius. Red Dawn Radio. Marcus. Hi, everybody. Arvolt. What's good with you? Valerie says hello from Ontario, Canada. We won't hold it against you. Dr. Insomnia. little news roundup. Let me know if the music's too quiet or too loud or whatever. I have it slightly loud over here, and we had a little bit of an echo last week with Frank, but I took care of it because I'm a professional. I'm a refressional. I'm drinking my water. You know, I'm a professional enjoying a refressional. You know. So yeah, we Christians over here, of course. I made that more awkward than it. I mean, I ended the music while I took a sip. Let's get into the news, everybody. So yeah, this is a little late at this point, but we had some big Supreme Court rulings over the past month or so. There was, of course, big news about Roe v. Wade, but it says so. The SCOTUS ruled with the coach praying at the 50-yard line. And, of course, from the media, it says Sports Illustrated says that coaches praying in public would erode democracy. I don't think democracy is right-wing, if you ask me. I'm not a big fan of democracy. I don't think a constitutional republic, a representative republic, is right-wing either. Just one man's opinion, but I'm the host of this show. I've said this on my show plenty of times, that this whole... It's so level A. It's so like floor level to be like, they say it's dangerous to our democracy, but we're not in a democracy. I'm not looking at the chat right now, but I'm sure there's someone saying it right now. We're not in a democracy. We're in a constitutional republic. That's a type of democracy, man. Like many of the people that say that this is dangerous to our democracy, they know we're not in a direct democracy. We're not in a direct democracy. We never have been in a direct democracy. We're in a type of democracy. This is where and I don't like it either. I don't like our system of government. I don't think it's right wing. I don't think it's really that moral, to be honest. It's definitely not the best way of doing things. Even if it functioned like it did on paper. If it was like we're just adhere to the system, like what is self-evident that the system outlined in the Constitution is a good one? I want a monarchy. Might be triggering some people, but I want a Christian dictator. Biden wants to arrest Trump. Just heard, yeah. Well, do you know that Biden didn't blink his eyes once? Let's watch this one. Where's it at? Where is that? I'm just literally just clicking through everything I have. Where is it? Yeah, dude, another hot take. These are not even the same guy. Like, they either gave him a big old shot of something. Something happened. They're not. I'm a Biden truther, man. These are not the same guy, and neither of these have the jowls of the Obama. Oh, it's really watch the jowls. I like that word. Even if you didn't have to watch the jowls, I would be a fan of saying that word. You're surprised to hear someone say that democracy really doesn't exist, or at least not for long. No one really believes in it. So, look at this, though. I mean, this clip where he didn't blink at all. I have it in my stack somewhere. I was really busy before this, so I didn't prep as much as I should. And my sunny personality will get it done instead. But I said, Biden doesn't blink once, dude. Let me look at this. They got him hopped up on something. All right, so it says the normal human being blinks their eyes 15 to 20 times a minute. On the other hand, there's Joe Biden. Let's watch.
The D.C. Metropolitan
Bal. Hey, Bal.
Police. Other law enforcement agencies were attacked and assaulted before our very eyes, speared, sprayed, stomped on, brutalized. Lives were lost. And for 3 hours, the defeated former president of the United States watched it all happen as he sat in the comfort of the private dining room next to the Oval Office.
Yeah, that's
While he was doing that.
Dude, I'm just saying, how are people not conspiracy theorists, man? First of all, it's fun. Second of all, come on, dude. That is some sort of cyborg, Sonny from iRobot
law
stuff.
Law enforcement officer subject to the medieval hell for 3 hours.
There's no way Biden is the Antichrist. The Antichrist is supposed to be charismatic. There's no way in the world that Biden is the Antichrist.
Medieval hell.
It might be Elon Musk. The nose is different. The chin is different. The jowls are different. Everyone say jowls in the chat. 69 people here. A lot of people here. A lot of people here to hear me talk about jowls and how Biden is not the Antichrist. Looks like a deep fake or something. There's this other one where he's speaking in front of some like oil yard. It's totally a green screen. Not the same guy. Someone says bowels. Oh, that's one of my friends. Come on. Well, I guess that's the right word for whatever, right? His eyes are smaller. The jowls, though. Vowels, vajowls. Hard to make blinking look natural with face swaps. Yep. Yeah, the bike crash. I'm glad you guys are on this, man. But it's certainly the guy from the 90s. And if you look at the Clarence Thomas era Biden, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. If it was a deep fake, he would sound smarter, or they know you know that, and they're making him sound just dumb enough. Ooh, you ever play that 4D chess, the late Arthur Morgan? Bacon Jaws. We could just hang out with the chat till Pete gets here, guys. You know, news is fake and gay. Hog Jowls and Pig's Feet. That's the name of the metal band I'm starting next month. That's the name of the metal country band that I'm starting later. So bowels and jowls and vowels, you know. The British are claiming that Putin has been replaced with a lookalike. Might be given away that it happens like with Biden. Yeah, I don't know. They also say that Putin's sick. I don't know. Yeah, do you guys know how good I am at 4D chess? You don't even understand, bro. They know, we know, that they know, we know, that they know. We can just write a rap about owls. My bowels got jowls. I spit vowels to the owls. Who? We got the hype owl comes from behind me. Like, who? Like, I got like the owls come from behind me. Yo, this is a news show, guys. Got these words. Sorry. Unironically, I am one of the best rappers in politics. Just not right now. You think that's Biden? Just look at his jowls. Who? Got mad rhymes. Oh, okay. Stream's over, guys. Have a good one. I'm out. Okay. Love you so much. That was terrible. Terrible rapper. I'm actually going to recuse myself for the rest of the program. I failed you. I love you. Have a good. Who? Yeah, I want Trump. I miss Trump. I want the what's it called? The limousine story to be true so badly. Well, you haven't heard my rap, Valerie. You say rap is crap, but I present my owl, vowel, jowl, bowel rap, Exhibit A, and I'm sure you enjoyed that, right? What do you mean? But yeah, what I'm saying is both those democracies are terrible. Like our democracy, as in the real, like American democracy versus their democracy, both are terrible. Both are awful. What are we doing today? Name this art style, wrong answers only. What is this, man? Modern art, like just liberalism is such a disaster. Like what? Name this art style, wrong answers only in the chat, please. White rappers are literally better. Like, what is this? I like Blake Masters. You guys, you've been following, like, I like JD Vance. I like Blake Masters. This new crop is good. That soundbite from Matt Gaetz was very good as well. Ooh. What is the name of this art style? It makes their enemies look so cool as well. Like, yeah, put me on this like black, on this like spiked fist. Beginner at Photoshop style, yep. Loza Alexander. He did one of the Let's Go Brandon songs, right? Unironically, I'm like the best rapper ever, guys. Unironically, don't make me play my 2020 rap album right now, dude. That's what I'm saying. Nerd white boy rap. Pop brutalism. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. It's pretty good art style. There's buffering. I don't know what to say. They're throttling us. Whenever I go to one of these events, like I covered January 6th and I covered a couple other ones. But they're throttling you. It's like they know. Antifa is FBI is Antifa. All caps, all caps. Art style, is it Frank Miller depicted the 2020s? So people just don't like me in the chat. It's gonna be a long stream, right? It's not in 40 minutes. It's another guy. Peace out, Jet Black Dreams. I'm gone. Whoo. Peace out. Can't stand the buffering. Okay. So yeah, I mean, people said they were. I mean, I said that I was optimistic in a way, democratically optimistic about Eric Adams, because the bar is so low for liberals. He's like, I carry a gun. He's like, I carry a gun, but also abort. You can abort up until the day they're born. I'm like, oh, it's one of the good ones. And by the good ones, I mean Democrats, not the way you think that it means. I heard about that. I looked that up. Right. Let's talk about this for a second. Let me look that. That's actually worth talking about. I found out about this right before I went live. I'd never heard of any of these people, but this Brittany Griner, she's an activist. What did she do? This is why I'm not your deep dive guy. I was literally just sitting here right before the stream. Biden administration has offered to exchange Victor Bout, a convicted Russian arms trafficker serving a 25-year prison sentence in a potential deal for release of detained Americans Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan. What did they do? Didn't they actually commit crimes in Russia? Victor Bout is the Lord of War guy? The Nicolas Cage movie? Really? I liked him in that movie. We locked up Nicolas Cage? Yeah, that's right. Basketball player that brought brought drugs in Russia. Dude, I took one look at her. I judge a book by its color so much now. I took one look at her. I was like, why? We don't want her back, dude. We don't want it. No, I want the pic. I don't want the picture. Oh. This is the worst stream ever. I can't believe there's 50 people here. Brittany Griner. She brought or bought. It's going to be behind the paywall. Substantial proposal. My goose. Yeah, I saw a couple quotes from her that she that she's not a fan of America. Sorry. Brought drugs into Russia. Testifies in Russian court. What? Please, can we not have her back? Please, can we not have her back? Let's keep Nicolas Cage, and they'll keep her. I want the arms dealer. I'm literally pro-Russia, dude. America should try to be like Russia. Welcome, everybody. Pete Quinones is coming on in 35 minutes. Going through articles till then. It's good to see some people, they had Jack Del Rio of the Washington Commanders. You mean the Redskins. Talking, saying that it was just January 6th was just a dust up. I like that. And then Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh at pro-life event saying, I believe in having the courage to let the unborn be born. Yeah. I love, so there's a quote from Jim Harbaugh. He looks exactly like his brother. John and Jim, come on. Stop being twins. Why don't you scuff your face up or something like that? Like add a birthmark or something like that. I can't tell you apart. I believe in having the courage to let the unborn be born, Harbaugh said. I love life. I believe in having a loving care and respect for life and death. My faith and my science are what drive these beliefs in me. Quoting from Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I anointed you as a prophet in the nations. In God's plan, each unborn human truly has a future filled with potential, talent, dreams, and love. I have living proof in my family, my children, and the many thousands that I've coached that the unborn are amazing gifts from God. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I love Russia. I mean, I don't love it more than America. I'm just saying they should try. America should try to be like Russia. Someone made a rendering of the 40-yard shot that took down the Indiana Mall shooter, and I am in awe. You haven't seen this stream. This stream's way more impressive. Yeah, we covered this last week, but not this month. So that is crazy. There's this troll account that's impersonating Eli Dickin, and it's so funny, dude. One of his tweets said, "I've been charged with second degree murder in the killing of a federal agent." Photoshop rendering of what Eli Dickin's point of view and distance to the shooter's location might have been. The red X is generalized location of where the shooter was fired. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy, dude. 40 yards. I mean, I've only shot a handgun at that distance like a couple times. Mainly at people that don't like my live stream. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. It's a joke. Seriously. So they walk the path. Wow. Boom, 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 boom. Also, yes, we should be allies with Russia. Boom, 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 boom. No, no. So yeah, back to this Eric Adams thing. Eric Adams says flood of illegal aliens in the city is a real burden on public resources. Yeah, there's no bigger burden than immigrants. Like it's not even illegal, dude. Say that, like, because all they have to do is change the laws so everyone gets in. Like at this point, illegal and legal are almost exactly the same. You know what I mean? Like there's almost no difference at this point. Boom, bum, 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 bum.
This is a real burden on New Yorkers as we're trying to do the right.
This is pretty easy guy to impersonate here.
This is a real.
Except in one way, I don't want to get Frank's channel taken out. I do have some black, some like brownish black skin tone makeup over there given to me by a fan. Maybe I should like go behind the curtain and put on some black.
Burden on New Yorkers as we're trying to do the right thing. We already, as I stated, we already have an overburdened shelter system. So now we're talking about, as you stated, food, clothing, school. This is going to impact our schools because we do not turn away individuals because they're undocumented. Translation services. There's just a whole host of things that this is going to produce, and that's why we need help in getting this done, and we need the right coordination to make it happen.
You got to send every single one of them back. Without that, it's not. Because if you don't send every illegal back, then illegal is not illegal. It's so simple. So simple. Overboydened. Right. Hello, everybody. Got some new people rolling in. That's fantastic. So, yeah, good. I mean, you literally need like a Christians to take over every institution. War of institutions. That's what needs to happen. I mean, I haven't even addressed the title yet. Me and Pete are going to address that. But it's like, why do you think that Jesus Christ would not want his people in every institution? He would. Of course he would. And I'm tired of people pretending it's not. Like, why would, like, Jesus Christ would want everyone to be Christian? If everyone was a Christian, then every institution would be infiltrated, would be taken over by Christians and Christian values. It's so simple. It's so simple. Trudeau's crazy haircut. Yeah, it's a little bit better. He just needs to like own his lineage and call himself Castro. So where's some of these things? Yeah, it's good to see that Marjorie Taylor Greene is an open Christian nationalist now, and what's his name? Matt Gaetz is asking questions about it. Where's this at? There we go. This one is a heck of a soundbite.
Is it safe to say that
I love this one.
based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
Be offended. I want to see the whole thing. Only Rosie O'Donnell. That's a great soundbite right there. Definitely going to ask Mr. Pete, I've had him on a couple times. Want to ask him who the politicians he likes are. He's a former, pretty interesting guy. He's a former libertarian, former ANCAP, but I think he just doesn't think libertarianism is going to work anymore, and he's right. He's right. We got in this mess because of libertarian thinking. Ban. Okay. Not ban. No one's banned yet. We haven't had a person in the chat yet that's been causing a ruckus yet. Is it going to be PJ Williams? Is that going to be the guy I battle with? Yo! Be offended. Yes. Being offensive is not a sin. That's all that should matter to a Christian, is whether it's a sin or not. Be offended. Only Rosie O'Donnell. Dude, literal, look at that. Fat, ugly horse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, with, like, just the most heinous, ugly on every single level. Like, wants to murder, is definitely fat, is definitely ugly, is definitely promiscuous. I look different after I shave. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, Frank got inside the shrinking machine. He spent less time in the sun, and he got a big shave, and now he looks like me. He is I, and I'm him. So yeah, she is a Nazi was trending on Twitter. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, Blue Anon is their name for. I mean, you ever want to just see just cancer? Just go in the replies to a Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet. We gotta enjoy it. We gotta just learn to enjoy it, man. We have to learn to enjoy being hated by the worst in society. Dan, you got a good memory. Start Fed posting about going to war with Mexico again, bro. That was like a year ago, right? Liberalism literally changes people's physiognomy, rots from the inside out. I so agree with that. I just judge looks now, man. The more right-wing I get, the better, the more handsome I get. Coincidence? I think not. Coincidence? These people, this dichotomy of like, who's the real racist? Who's the real fascist? Democrats are the real Nazis. Republicans are the real Nazis. It's like, I'm the real Nazi. I'm just kidding. It's a false dichotomy. Of course I know him. He's me. It says Christian nationalism movement will break American democracy. New York Times guest essay. Look at these screaming. We have to watch an ad. Not going to do it. Dude. Jay Cornegay. Are you kidding me, man? This is just an ad, but let's hear from our guest correspondent, Jay Cornegay. Christian nationalism is the way to go. That's what I am. I'm a Christian nationalist. I think it's the right way to be. I mean, if you're not about the nation, that's one thing. I mean, I'm going to ask Pete about this, about whether he's a Christian nationalist. I think he's more of like a Christian decentralist. He's a fan of decentralization. But I'm definitely a Christian nationalist. You know, it's funny in a lot of these articles, they say, you know, the people that are like evangelical conservatives, they say, no one calls themselves a Christian nationalist. That's just a thing the left says as a pejorative. It's like I've been saying I'm a Christian nationalist for 2+ years. Nothing's wrong with it. It's good. Being a nationalist is not, like, they don't believe being a Christian is necessarily bad if it's soft progressive Christianity. And they don't think being a nationalist is necessarily bad. I'm talking about our enemies right now. But when you combine the two, they definitely see it as bad. I see it as good. I think that's what we should be. That's what we should be, dog. It's very good. What else would you be if you love America and you love Christ? That's why America first, Christ is king is like, those two chants are extremely based. Extremely based. That's what I think. She witnessed, so this guest essayist for the New York Times says she witnessed Christians using increasingly violent rhetoric and embracing dominion theology. What? What does this mean? What is dominion theology? I know words. I use the best words. I know words, the best words. So good, bring it. Let them keep calling us Christian nationalists and let us keep owning the label. Keep doing it. Christian nationalism drove these people out of their churches. I can't wait to read this one. Vice News, written by Jay Fornegay. No, just kidding. Drove these people out of their churches. Christians from around the country who spoke to Vice News said they've witnessed their congregations lose focus and slide into... That is laser focused. If your church is talking Christian nationalism, that means they get it. Preach the gospel to all nations. You know, it's interesting. Obviously, we're called to evangelize, of course. But in the Great Commission, it doesn't even say to preach to every individual. We're supposed to. I'm not trying to... Don't get me wrong here. But in the Great Commission, it doesn't even say in that passage to preach to every individual. It says preach to all nations. Very interesting. I was listening to a talk on that earlier today. I was like, oh, really? curls the proverbial mustache corners. And like every one of these other articles, they just start with some story. Who wrote this? Tess Owen. These articles are so bad, man. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when woke was a compliment. The pastor at my church is really anti-Mason. And I said in small group, I was like, yo, pastor's woke on the Mason question. They looked at me like I was crazy, dude. In my day, you know, maybe it's just because I'm black. But in my day, woke, I was like, yo, you're woke on that question? To every creature, huh? Whoa. Yo, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. It says, keep it up, boys. Thomas says, keep it up, boys. We need more men like yourselves. can only sit and watch at 66. I don't know what that means at 60. Are you talking to someone in the chat? I need to read it like one of those super chat ladies, though. Keep it up, boys. Keep it up, boys. We need more men like yourselves at 66. Can only sit and watch. So, yeah, I mean, this is just... These articles are terrible. And they just... What? Okay. Listen to this quote. This is not a cruise ship. This is not cruise ship Christianity right now. We are a battleship. We are literally called to be soldiers for Christ. I mean, I don't know if it says that necessarily in the Bible, but the amount of military language, finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly planes. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand firm. I mean, if you look at the epistles, there's so much language like that, dude. Fight me, IRL. Dude, this Hunter Biden, everything is so crazy right now. We're just inundated with, it's not even crazy stories. It's just been crazy for so long that the biggest, the stuff in the Hunter Biden laptop is so bad. It's so bad, and no one even talks about it, man. You see this Zelensky, Zelensky in Vogue. Yeah, he's like a sex actor, dude. I don't mean like porn or whatever, but yeah, he's like a smutty. Have you seen Zelensky's sketch comedy? It's so, ugh. And he's just hanging with Ben Stiller. Dude, this is so fake. I think that's photos fake. You look at that. Are they just touching each other? That's fake, dude. Oh man, I wish I could just be a fly on some of those walls. Some of the sketch comedies with Zelensky is so bad. Yet all feels off, dude. It's totally a Photoshop, right? Yeah. I agree with that. Can't stop thinking about the, what's it called story. I can't stop thinking about the limo story with Trump. I want that to be true so badly. So yeah, this is, what's his name? Tucker just did this cool interview with David Schmidt.
Where you find satisfaction.
Nice little comb over. Nice, freshly showered comb over from Tucker. Daniel Schmidt says, I'm an 18-year-old college student. I just had the privilege to interview Tucker Carlson for 40 minutes. We talked about how porn damages young men, why anti-white sentiment is so pervasive, why marrying early is the best, and much, much more. Yeah, I mean, Tucker straight up was like, if you play by identity politics, white people are going to make identity politics. See, it's like, yeah, dude. Of course. And it's like, but the next level is all politics is identity politics, man. Because if you say, hey, we're going to make politics that aren't identity politics, that's part of your identity. It's saying there's no identity politics is self-refuting. What people really mean is a certain segment of identity politics, like your gender, your sexual orientation, or your race, or whatever. But if you make it not about that, that becomes part of your identity politics. It makes no sense. Being anti-identity politics is an identity, is my point.
Satisfaction is through achievement, and achievement comes through commitment and responsibility. So my advice to young people, particularly young men, is just dive face first into it. Like, drop out of college. College is ridiculous unless you're moving towards some very specialized degree that you can only get in college. If you want to be a veterinarian or a physicist or something.
It's a very funny first thing to name is veterinarian.
But if you're in humanities, I can give you a list of 100 books. You can find it on the internet, and you'll be better educated than you would be at whatever stupid college you go to. A. B. Get married. And, choose wisely, but don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. People overthink it. Like, if you're compatible with someone and you can smell that, you can make it work. And by the way, it's never easy because men and women fundamentally don't understand each other. That's the whole joy in it. That's why marriage makes you grow, is because you don't really understand the other person. So you have to try every day to decipher what that person's saying. Have more children than you can afford. Take a job you're not qualified for.
Based.
Like, go balls out. Just go.
That's such based advice.
Balls out. I don't know. What is everyone waiting for? Have some adventure in your life. Do something crazy. I mean it. And
I've always, I don't have kids. I wish I had a bunch, but this thing where they're like, we can't afford it.
Go to Bali.
Okay.
Skip Bali, please. What an Instagram cliche that is.
Like, I'm not saying not affording stuff. Like, that is real sometimes, but like, you're talking about bringing life into the world. Like, we're all going to die, man. Like, just go for it. Yeah, I wish I had 20 kids. Well, maybe not that many. I'm 34. That would mean I'd have to start at age like, 18 at the, I would like that. I wish I had a kid every year and a half or two since I was 18. I do wish that. It's expensive to buy kids, yeah. And yeah, it's like, think about stuff for sure, but you should think about it. But overthinking it, when people say overthink, really they really mean is like justify not doing it with like you try to play God. You try to, go for it. Expensive to buy kids. What's up, Justin Bell? Where's the other one? Yeah, he was talking funny. I think, he doesn't have his normal shtick going on right now. He's got the comb over. He's got the bad camera angle. This is why you're considered correctly a propagandist. Dude, everyone's a propagandist, man.
I'm interviewing you.
So he's interviewing Ben Smith, or he's being interviewed by Ben Smith.
Question: does that sound racist to you? You just suggested I'm a white supremacist.
I found that clip disturbing. I think the language of replacement theory, which you've popularized, the language of replacement theory is like specifically.
Dude, it's so happening. Like, that's one that is such a no-brainer because the left has been bragging about white replacement theory for decades, dude. And it's not the conspiracy. When they say it's a conspiracy, they don't mean whether it's true or not. They say that, but what they really mean is it's a conspiracy to think of it as bad, that white people are being replaced. They've been bragging about the browning of America for my whole lifetime. I first heard about that when I was like 8 years old, man. It's such a joke.
Language used by neo-Nazis to recruit people to their cause. It has been, obviously, I'm not suggesting some straight
Why does everyone have this lispy gay voice now?
Line between words and actions, but it is the phrase that has been used by mass shooters. I wonder if you don't have any compunction or regret about popularizing that?
This is why
look at Tucker streaming from his closet, by the way. Look at that. Like, he's like in his closet with his neckties behind it. Like, look, dude, that feeling when Tucker Carlson's closet is more baller than my house.
You're correctly a propagandist and not a journalist, because I just explained in detail, with total sincerity, what I believe. You ignored it and invoked mass shooters. So that's not what you just did.
I asked you how you felt about it. I actually do want to ask you about something. I'd like to ask.
And then they move on as soon as you get there.
I'd like to ask you about something that actually I think we probably have more common ground on.
How ridiculous you are, and I think it's evident to any fair person watching.
I guess I'm trying to give you an opportunity to respond to things that have been said and written about you. But let's move to something that I'm really not looking to have a
does this
shouting
sound
match
like racist
with you.
ideology? And you're like, I'm disturbed by the Media Matters clip for 8 seconds. Like, are you being serious?
Dude, this lispy gay soy voice just needs to go away now. Now. Like, I'm so sick of it. It's everywhere. I'm glad I have a low voice. That's nice. I was talking to a friend the other day how I wish my singing voice was higher, but I don't have like a very low voice. Hi everybody, welcome to when I go that low, I do become like straight up black. Hey y'all. My darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby. I don't know why, I can't get enough of your love, baby. But yeah, I mean, because I have a slight lisp, especially priests. Very hard word to say. But it just happens so fast with this lispy gay dialect, dude. It's college, it's Reddit, and it's just up here. Everyone's a tenor now. I'm just trying to do this. I just can't stand it, man. I cannot stand it. Does it bother you guys this much? Or I guess no. Do you guys notice it as much as me? I mean, because I'm reviewing, footage online, many hours of the day, and it's like every single host. And it's a lot of right-wingers. It's a lot of pastors. It's people that are in public speaking. And it just needs to stop, King. You're too good for this soy, bro. It's not good, man. You think they over exaggerated, but it's right wingers too, and it's also the range that it's in. Soy definitely gives you estrogen for sure. Yeah, you've noticed. Yeah, it's not good. Who here cares about what Prince Harry has to say, dude? All of a sudden, these issues just come in waves, man. They do the guns thing, then they do the climate change thing, then they do the abortion thing. But the climate change thing is crazy, man. Come on. I can't believe that people are still into this. The people that, tape themselves, glue themselves to the freeway. I don't want a Fed post or anything, not on my channel. Not on Frank's channel, I should say. Well, wait, no, I am Frank. Not on my other channel. This is my 18th channel. This is my Spaniard channel. But dude, the freeway, that was a sacred place in American society. Rolled back. How about we don't care about what you have to say? Former Prince Harry. Wait, he's not a prince anymore? Wait, what do you mean former? Former Prince Harry. Did him getting married do something about that? Rolled back constitutional rights as part. They have. Wait, but except for the democracy part. They have rolled back constitutional rights, and it has been a global assault. He denounced the throne? Yeah, that's not good. As a monarchist, I don't agree with that, but yeah, dude, Harry is the biggest simp on the planet. What a simp.
A time of global uncertainty and division.
The biggest simp is this guy.
When it's all too easy to look around and feel anger or despair. I've been inspired to go back to Mandela's writings for insight into how this could be.
Mandela was a straight-up terrorist.
How he could experience so much darkness and always manage to find the light. There I found a few lines that stopped me in my tracks. In a letter from prison, he wrote, "I feel my heart pumping hope steadily to every part of my body, warming my blood and pepping up my spirits. I am convinced that floods of personal disaster
his
can never
marriage
drown
his marriage caused abdication, bro.
a determined revolutionary. To a freedom fighter, hope is what a lifebelt is to a swimmer. a guarantee that one will keep afloat and free from danger. It moved me even more when I saw the date, August 1st, 1970. 7 years into Mandela's imprisonment, not even 1/3 of the way through. In those circumstances, how many of us would have lost hope and let our life belts slip away? How many of us would have been broken by a system designed to do exactly that? And let's be honest, how many of us are in danger of losing those life belts right now? How many of us feel battered, helpless, in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation? I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. And from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global...
So these gay Brits just get to weigh in, huh? Oh, it's pretty crazy, man. So he abdicated the throne when he got married. Dude, this is the biggest simp, dude. Wow, this is the biggest simp on the planet. He's the biggest simp on the globe. Awesome. All right, I think we got Pete in here. So this is we got Pete Quinones coming on right now. We're going to talk about right-wing institutional takeover. We're going to talk a little bit about his show and stuff like that. See if we can get Pete on here in the room. Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Did you hear me? Yeah, great, man. Well, we got Pete Quinones on. You've been on my show a couple times.
Why did you have the people whose asses we kicked 250 years ago? I mean,
well, he's weighing in on he's like, he says he calls out the rolling, what is it? The rolling back of the constitutional rights in the United States as part of a global assault. Like, why do they get to weigh in?
Didn't we shoot them like 250 years ago? I mean, why are we letting them back in?
I don't know, man. I guess it's just globalism, right? I mean, but did you know that he gave up the throne? He's not even a prince anymore.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, he had to give it up. Yeah.
Wow.
I guess that's what happens when you marry a black chick. Maybe is that what it is? I don't know.
We'll get into a few different topics or whatever. But dude, what do you think? We were just talking about how there's this I don't know how to say upspeak where guys these days have this lispy gay, all these interviewers, they have this way of speaking now where every guy, even straight guys, sound gay now. Have you noticed this?
Well, they're probably trying to imitate what women do. You know how women, especially leftist women, how they, they'll talk, and at the end of every sentence they go up like this, and it's the worst. And it's just, hey, we'll know that everything has gone to shit when guys are just employing vocal fry in every friggin', when they're being interviewed on TV. So
yeah, it's what do you think? So do you think it's them? Do you think it's them intentionally trying to be like women, or do you think it's, I don't know. I imagine 150 years ago, no men sounded like that. But you think they're doing it on purpose, or do you think it's something in the water? I don't know.
No.
Looked into, yeah.
No, it's you when you go to okay, so it's really environment. It's the environment that you're in. I remember when I was a kid, there was this. When I was 17, there was a classmate of mine who was obviously gay, and hadn't accepted it yet. But when he did, I mean, he talked just like us. I mean, just typical New Yorker and everything. 2 years later, he accepts he's gay, goes out into the gay community, comes back, and now he's just flaming. I mean, the speech and everything. Yeah, it's learned, it's environment. I noticed that I really like the comedian Tim Dillon, and when you listen to his show, he speaks in a certain way. But when he went on Red Scare, he totally dropped the whole manliness and everything, and it's oh, now Tim Dillon sounds like he's gay. So it's also it's when you getting around certain people, I assume it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's what they call it, code switching, right? You know,
Yeah.
try
People
to
code
sound
switching.
like a black person. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, who of us when we're in the hood doesn't do that so they don't
Not
get
one
our
of
ass
us.
kicked,
Yeah. I found myself doing it around a Southern guy the other day. I mean, I'm in Tennessee, and I found myself doing a little bit of a draw. I was like, it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of shameful. Can't we just be ourselves? But yeah, definitely have code switched a few times while in Detroit. Yeah, don't want to get your ass kicked. Yeah, very, very true. Yeah. So, since we're talking about like the gay thing, I mean, I don't know if everyone knows about the monkeypox thing, but they're saying that kids are getting monkeypox.
Did you see what Lee Anfield is calling it?
No.
Dong COVID. It's not long COVID, it's dong COVID.
Oh, that's so funny, man. I mean, they just declared it, like a public health emergency, and there's this other virus that they're. One thing I will say, last couple times I had you on, I delete my stuff off of YouTube, and this one's staying on YouTube, so we definitely have to like keep it within YouTube parameters. I was reminded that by Let's Be Frank as well, but I mean, yeah, we got monkeypox, and it's clearly just like a gay thing, and. Do you think normal people, if that even exists, are gonna fall for it and they're gonna take, countermeasures or like wear masks or whatever? I don't know. Like, do you think that people are gonna fall for it?
I think it's gonna be a white pill in that you're gonna get more and more people like making jokes about it, about how it's a gay thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like AIDS where like people were actually dying back then and everything like that.
Yeah.
No, these people are just they're doing what gay people do. And God damn it, I'm sorry. Doing what gay people do. And they get the monkeypox.
delete now. That's hilarious, man. So yeah, like I said, you've been on my show a couple times. I've gotten your story and stuff like that. But I was telling people about 15 minutes before you came on that you don't call yourself a libertarian anymore. And so why don't you just walk people through like your political journey and why? And I think when I had you on a couple months ago, you kind of just accept the right wing label. Walk people through your political journey and why you just call yourself a right winger and what that means to you.
Yeah, I mean, grew up in a Democrat household, but they really, when Reagan got elected, they liked Reagan a lot. So switched over there. I was really politically homeless until 2007. Saw Ron Paul debating Rudy Giuliani. He made a lot of sense to me, and so started studying libertarianism. Basically became an anarchist. Started a podcast in 2017. COVID started, and I knew exactly that what was going to happen. I knew they were going to use it for. It was going to be worse than after 9/11. They were going to just institute the worst tyranny with it. And I just started, I started asking questions like, well, I mean, if libertarianism and freedom, classical liberalism, the founding principles of this country, if they've led us to this, where people aren't even willing to just say no. I mean, let's borrow a Reagan era phrase, just say no to all this. Then I think that the world is a lot different than I think it is. So I started studying what a lot of people call realpolitik, where you look at the world and you leave your ideology at the door and you're just trying to figure out what the world is. So I find out what the world is, and I'm like, I don't know any libertarians that can, I don't know how libertarianism is going to fight this. So I just started bouncing and reading as much as I could. And then I knew that the left was responsible for, they loved COVID. They loved killing people in the streets in 2020. They loved stealing the election in 2020. They loved calling a bunch of tourists on January 6th insurrectionists. These are not my people, and so I just went further right. And, now I'm, if people want to talk about libertarianism, I will definitely call myself a Hoppian. I mean, I think Hans Hermann Hoppe is I think he has a good solution for what we're going through now, especially at the local level. But for the most part, like these people who are just like, oh, if we get people to read books and go to our conventions and everything, no, it's not going to work. So direct action. I don't see how, people want to talk about ideology and then they want to talk about how to put it into how to put ideology and practice, or ideology and strategy. I don't know how to divorce the two. Although a lot of times when you look at strategy, you're like, in order to do what I need to do in order to win, this ideology here is holding me back. So maybe I don't know what's going on here. So at this point, I'm just like, the left has taken over everything. They need to be destroyed. They need to be put in zoos. They need to be, ghost stories need to be told about them, and we need to basically take over from the ground up, starting with your hometown, wherever you live, and take over that, and then form alliances all the way across, and beat these people back to where they belong, and to ridicule them soundly, because it's it's the least of what they deserve.
Right. So in a way, would you call is the label reactionary might be a one that you, because it seems like, not that I'm opposed to this at all. I'm very anti-left, but would you call yourself more right-wing or more anti-left? And if you are more right-wing, what would be some like more not, I don't mean positive, like it, like nice, but like you're talking about being opposed to something as opposed to being in support, like supporting stuff, which is, a distinction that a lot of people make, that like you have to stand for something rather than stand against something. I don't really agree with that. I think opposing the left is a fine worldview, but would you call yourself like a reactionary in that way?
Well, I don't see anything out there to politically to support. See, that's the problem, is if you look at the Republican politicians, and if you look at Democrat politicians, there's nothing there to support. To me, it's like, support your neighbor, support the people in your hometown that you share values with. I've basically taken to calling myself just a dissident, because it's cool. Where am I, where do I belong? Except, there's a bunch of people calling themselves dissident right. And I've get together with them and I talk to them, and just hung out with a bunch of them last week. And they're the people that I have the most in common with. So I guess that's where labels are, everyone hates labels, but labels are important because it's kind of gives you an idea where people are at. So dissident is probably the closest thing right now.
Yeah, and I guess built into the definition, dissident is you're opposing something. You can't be a dissident without that thing you're opposing, and whether it be the regime, and I think that global liberalism and the liberal mentality is that's what the enemy is. And it's weird how if you think of the word liberal, you're liberating from something, and it's different from libertarian, but it's like they want to free themselves from God in the first place, and they want to free themselves from anything to do with order, and their order is basically their own feelings, and it's their own do as thou wilt mentality, which is essentially Satanism. So is freedom, I don't mean necessarily the freedom to do good, but just is freedom in general, is it a good thing?
It depends who's claiming it. Are they people who have righteous values, who don't want to hurt anybody who doesn't deserve it, or people who, the whole thing about, you become a libertarian when you just want to be left alone, when you realize you just want to be left alone, and then you become something else when you realize they're never going to leave you alone. And I think that really the only way to make liberty work is with like-minded people and people who share your values, and small groups of people. Hoppe talks about that a covenant community or a private city is going to have to be explicitly right-wing, and also Christian values. And I have a hard time arguing with that, because when you look at even people in like Republicans, you can see like, Dave Rubin calls himself a calls himself a classical liberal now. It's like, it's gross. It's gross. Then if that's what a classical liberal is, that's not what I want to be, because classical liberal is still a liberal. So I want to be around people who like want order, crave righteousness and you want to let your neighbor live their life until they need help, or if they or or in the unfortunate instance that they may deviate from the the accepted order, that they need to be dealt with. So
yeah. So and I think we might have talked about this last time you came on, but I call myself a Christian nationalist, and you essentially are. I mean, I don't know you want to start at the local, as local as possible, like your neighbor, your community, and outwards from that. I agree with that for sure. I mean, you got to live next to someone. But one of the reasons that I am a nationalist is because I think that we're basically in a zero-sum game, and eventually, if we remain a country, they're going to come into eventually. They're going to mess with the localities. They mess with red states. They mess with small communities. They don't necessarily march people into the hillside to mess with the localities, but they might, and they could if given enough power. But your ideology starts from the ground up. Again, mine has to, because we are people, and I care about my neighbors more than the person up the street or whatever. But do you think the nation is a viable, you're an American? Do you want to hold on to your American identity? Do you think that it's even, from a realpolitik standpoint, do you even think that's relevant, the nation at this point?
I mean, one thing you said there was like, how can they mess with small towns? And I don't think that they can. First of all, their resources are very limited. If you have, like, the feds cannot, even the state police cannot go into a town and really accomplish anything without the help or, local police, sheriff turning a blind eye to it. So if you're electing sheriffs who are like, okay, I'm an Auburnite first, then I'm an Alabaman, and then I'm, an American. Well, that's let's, you meet these people, want to show up, you meet them at the county line, say, we dug those ditches there already, and you could either leave or you end up in them. And we've deputized the whole town and come out here. I mean, that is, they don't have the manpower, and they don't have the money. They can't even really print the money anymore to do it. I mean, the DEA is basically, they have to pick their battles because they just can't go everywhere where, weed is still illegal nationally. So they could basically go anywhere where it's made legal and start trouble, but they can't even afford to do that. They don't have the forces to do it. They don't have the funds to do it. I don't know that the principles of the United States, what they were founded on, a lot of it was classical liberalism. I don't know if I want to really hold on to that. I'm more along the lines of community, and Aaron McIntyre said this on my show recently. He said, even like if you're in a covenant community, having a written covenant or a written constitution, well, first of all, it should be unspoken. If you share values, you don't even need that stuff written down. Second of all, as soon as you write it down, a lawyer can make it into anything. You can translate it into anything and make it believe it, make it mean anything. So we've already seen that, and I don't know that the country can stay together as 50 states. It seems to me that there's going to be a split, and I would assume either Texas or Northern California is gonna do that at some point, if not a blue state. Like, so if Trump gets reelected in 2024, you may see a California try to secede or something like that. And I think it would be better if it was a blue state that did it first. But I think it's Texas. I've been spending a lot of time in Texas, and Texas really seems like its own. They have a feel of their own country, like they're Texas first. And I went to one event, and they started it by doing the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. And as much as I don't like civil bullshit like that, it was nice to see that they weren't, they were worried about where they live and not where, their enemy lives. That's the whole thing about nationalism. If you're a nationalist, you're like, what are you fighting to stay in a compact with your enemy? Unless you think you can defeat them. And I don't even really think that I don't even think that that even works. It's like all these like white supremacists who are like, oh, I want to have my own, we want to have our own land, or we want to have our own. Well, go. There's towns you can move. Just go move and like take over. Found a town, do something. You could do it. Stop. Just don't advertise what you're doing. Be smart about it. You don't have to act like fucking clowns. I mean, you don't have to act like clowns all the time. It's just. I mean, that's the problem with them is yeah. I know. Like I've heard some like white nationalist. Even Nat Socks, who I've heard him speak, and they make a lot of sense. But the thing about now, I think there's a crop coming up that aren't clowns. Like it seemed like the whole Charlottesville thing was like there was a bunch of clowns there.
Yeah, it was LARPy, man. It was
yeah. I do not agree that it was like I don't know. I just looked and it's like, man, that looked fed infested. I'm sorry. I know people say it wasn't, and I have good friends who say it wasn't fed infested, but it just seemed like it was to me. I just don't think that you go and you advertise. Just go and work. Go and do your work.
Yeah. People are loud, man. Like the social media thing, people are just loud about it. So you mentioned, that you think there might be a secession. Do you think that there's going to, I mean, usually if that happens, I mean, I guess usually like in your brain, you're like, there's going to be a secession, but it seems like there would have to be some sort of spark. I mean, and you were saying Trump being reelected might be, I mean, I think that would break the culture. I mean, it'd be glorious. If Trump won, it would certainly break the internet. But from the right-wing side, if there were to be a right-wing secession, would it be? What do you think would be the spark? Like how would it actually happen other than the right people getting into power and voting? And if they were to do that, do you think that the federal government would try to stop them?
Well, I mean, hasn't it already started? I mean, there's such a term as soft secession,
right?
States ignoring federal mandates and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it happens naturally. I think the main thing that would do it would be like, say in Texas has their own gold reserves and stuff like that. I think it would be the dollar.
If you get away from the currency, then that's most of it right there. Right? That's if you can have your own economy. What's the point? If you can have your own army and your own economy.
Justin Bell, PA, is saying a convention of states. That's the LARPiest bullshit and won't get anything done. That's boomer. That's boomer. That's boomer shit. Just take that and throw it away. It's just boomer stuff.
Why don't you expound upon that? Why is that not realistic?
Because it doesn't really. What are you going to come together to rewrite the Constitution? I mean, it's not. They're just going to corrupt it again. It's like what I said. You have, if you have a town. Having a written constitution means that you have a written constitution because you have a low trust society. The only way you have peace and order is you have a high trust society, people that trust each other. These things don't need to be said. So I mean, like Convention of States is like straight out of what Academic Agent calls the boomer truth regime that we've gotten since World War II, where everything's boomer truth. I've never heard
that. I love that term. Yeah.
It's just it's like, oh, if we it's like believing, oh, if we just get the right person elected, Trump, he's going to change everything. All right. Well, I mean, when has that ever happened in the past? What did Ronald Reagan change? The fact that you can't get a machine gun anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, we were raised a certain way. I mean, I'm only 34, but I'm a little more old school than some millennials. And, You know, it's tough. It's painful, man. The red pill's painful because you think it was a certain way. And I was never, you know, a hardcore ANCAP or whatever. I mean, in 2019, I wanted to be an ANCAP, and I thought, like, what's the, you know, I wanted to be.
Yeah,
but,
we didn't talk in 2019, but I think at the beginning of 2020.
We talked in 2019. Yeah, we talked in like July 2019. Yeah, and I was basically an ANCAP, but I just become a Christian. I was like really trying to like figure out the whole thing. And but we were raised a certain way, like America, like the Constitution means something. The red pill's painful, man. I mean, and when you can I don't know, you can choke on too many red pills, and you don't, like, if your identity is in a certain thing, it's just really painful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, for these older people, what I'm saying, for these like older people, like people that are like 60, 70, it's like, it's all they ever knew. And then Trump broke the world. Yeah. It's so, do you think they can get it eventually? Like,
well, the problem with that was it's like you had these people who were like 60 in their 70s. Trump's going to get elected and change everything. I mean, that's not how it works, you know? So it's like that. Then they hold on to the whole Q thing. I mean, the Q thing was one of the greatest psyops of all time because it got people to say, oh, I don't need to do anything. Someone's coming to save me. When the hell has that ever happened? There are still people. I was talking to a buddy of mine in a private chat today, and he shared like me on some show or something like that. And his like boomer grandmother was like, or his like boomer uncle was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense and everything. Did you see the latest, thing from the Q community? And I'm like, it's 2022. I mean, I was like hearing about Q drops in 2017. It's 5 years later. What's gotten better?
Oh no.
People are in jail.
Bad. Yeah.
I mean, you remember it was like I remember the January of 2020 of 2021 last year, they were saying that by April 15th, Trump's going to be reinstated, and it was like, and then it was October, then it was November, and now it's what? Come on. I mean, no one's coming to save you. You're going to have to do it yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No one. When has anyone ever came and saved us?
I've ran into two people in the last month that have tried to tell me that Trump is going to become Speaker of the House in this November election. And these are people in real life, not on the internet. It was one guy that worked at a gas station by me, and it's one lady that ran a Trump store in Georgia, and they both, within a couple days, like, he's going to be Speaker of the House. I just feel so bad because these are salt of the earth types. I like these people. They're family people. They're Christians. I just feel so bad. I just like, I hope, I guess, but like you said, it was every 3 weeks for a year and a half. And it was anywhere from November 8th, 2020 to a year later, more. And they still say trust the plan.
Yeah, it was an opiate for the masses. Oof. It was just to make them be like, someone's coming to save me. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to stay vigilant. Oh, they're calling Trump a Russian asset. Q's coming to save us. What the? Oh, Ukraine gate. Oh, Q's coming to save us. Oh, COVID. Oh, Q's coming to. Fuck them more.
Yeah, it's really rough, man. So yeah, for the last couple minutes, what I want to talk about, I don't think I've gotten your whole story on Christianity. So like, what was your religious background? Like, how'd you become? What type of Christian are you now? Like, how did your faith story work throughout the last 5-6 years or whatever?
Well, I mean, I grew up Catholic. I Protestant around 1998, 2001. 2002, 2003, left the church. It just had so much. I hated the politics of the church. It was just too much for me. And then I just didn't go back to church. I mean, I have faith. It's just, I really hate organization. I'm still like an anarchist in that way. I mean, Catholicism makes a lot of sense to me for certain reasons. Orthodoxy makes a lot of sense to me for certain reasons. Protestantism is, it's the foundation of this country. This country was, founded by Protestants, but it was it's just so, I mean, when you realize how many like registered denominations there are in this country, and you realize that like there really is no unity, you just get people arguing over minutia, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. It's really, to me, like Protestantism is just individualism. It's just for you as an individual and some people that you get together with locally or something like that. At least like, Catholics can say they have a family worldwide. Like they have a nation. They have a nation worldwide. And, and Orthodox as well, although Orthodox has some splits, has some schisms because they were a schism. So I mean, me, it's just, I'm living my life, trying to stay away from evil and to fight evil as much as I can. But I just don't, the whole idea of going to a building once, twice, 3 times a week and doing some kind of ceremony, to me, I'd just rather get together with the people and fellowship. Fellowship is, to me, when I was in church, fellowship was always more important. Right. I'd rather do prayer group than I'd do, the service.
Right. Yeah. Do you think that the Bible, there's this term hermeneutics, the ability to,
I spent a couple of years in seminary. Yeah. I think,
that's right. Okay. Do you think that the Bible has one interpretation or multiple?
I mean,
one true one.
Is there a true one? I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, when you start studying scholars and you start studying these, you realize these are really smart people. Of course, everyone has an agenda. It's hard for somebody to come at and divorce themselves from their beliefs, their feelings, everything. When I read the Bible, like to me, and this is probably just my bias, I read it as like the Scottish Puritans read it, like the original Presbyterians. I think to me, it reads very Calvinist. It reads, I see election and predestination from the first word to the last word. And that's just the way I read it. Is it seems to me like the closest it came to me is like I'm not a fan of pedobaptism, but I understand why people do it. So I went to a Reformed Baptist church, which believed in predestination. God predestines people, but I did not believe in pedobaptism. I don't see pedobaptism in the Bible. And even though I went to a Presbyterian seminary and they are pedobaptists, when I asked them, okay, so show it to me, they would show me verses that talked about a covenant. And I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about here. You're basically, it seems to me that you're forming a sacrament from a bunch of different things. It's to say that, okay, and I've heard this too. Well, circumcision just became baptism. Show me. So I don't know. Wow. That's one of the things.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah, we share a lot of the same beliefs. Yeah, I mean, when I read the Bible, I definitely. I mean, the elect is all over the place, and
it's like Romans everywhere.
9, it's everywhere.
What's Abraham? He chose Abraham. He chose Noah. All of these people he chose. The prophets. He chose the prophets. When they wanted a king, he chose the king. Come on. Yeah. And then the word elect is all throughout the friggin' New Testament. And then you read Romans, and it's just like, all right, well, person who wrote this definitely believed in election. So
yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, and I don't know. I've asked a couple of my friends. I was out at Applebee's one time with a couple of my friends, and one of them was
2 for 1 all day, every day.
Yeah, and then the other didn't believe in baptizing infants, and I asked them why from Scripture, and they're like, "Dude, we'll probably be here for 12 more hours if we even start this conversation." So I haven't really done a deep dive into that one. But what's interesting is that I hear what you're saying about it just seems that, like, from an organizational standpoint, like, Catholicism and Orthodoxy is just a little more based in terms of it. They have a nation, they have an identity. And
Sure.
I do agree that in a way, Protestantism, it is just individualism. And to say, you said it a couple times about the Scripture, it's like the way it reads to me. And it's like even saying the words "to me" implies that it's like, oh, it's like you're an individual. And I don't know what to do with that, because you're just a person reading the Scripture, and doesn't mean you can learn the original language. You can learn Greek, and you can learn ancient Hebrew, and many people have. But at the end of the day, the words are there, and what do you do with it? Because I don't agree with the Catholic view on salvation. I think it's anti-biblical, but they are a better organization. But the Bible doesn't call us to be part of a better organization. The Bible says what it does, and what do you do with that? It's very tough to navigate this stuff, right?
I mean, you just do the best you can do for you and your family. I mean, you can research it all you want. I've researched it all. I mean, I read everything from the Scottish and British Puritans to the 20th century German quote unquote liberal scholars, Karl Barth, Ernst Käsemann, those people, and they all have different opinions, But I think that's why a lot of people go towards Catholicism or Orthodoxy, because they have 1,500, 2,000 years of dogma, which makes, and I'm not using dogma in a derogatory,
Right.
as a derogatory term, that the people that makes them look authoritative. And then, you search the business listings in the United States, and you see that there's as of 2001, there was 50,000 Protestant denominations registered. Well, that's pretty
crazy.
splinterous. I mean, that is a lot of splinters. I mean, it's like, where is the? And then you have some, like somebody told me that if you don't believe in the literal resurrection of the body, that your literal body will be resurrected one day, that you can't fellowship with those people. And I'm like, what about the people who died 1,000 years ago and there's nothing left?
Yeah.
There's nothing left. They've been buried. It's not even dust anymore. They become part of the earth.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then I don't know that there's a literal, they're expecting literal flesh and blood to be lifted up into the air.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm not sure that that's what that means. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, if the thing that's weird is not fellowshipping with someone, because I mean, God is all powerful, so he could, if anyone could do it, he could. But it's about whether the Bible says it, and the idea of not fellowshipping with someone over that is it's strange, and I got to think more about it. But it's like, we're on, like what you said before, you got to do what's best for you and your family, because we're living, breathing, thinking human beings that love the truth. And what can you do other than pray and read the Bible and ask good questions and talk to other people? I hope that that's the right way to go, right?
Well, put it this way. I mean, if your intent is to be righteous and you're wrong, I mean, I don't think you're not going to be judged for that.
Yeah, it's the heart.
You're just not going to be judged for that, So
Wow.
it's not. I mean, unless if you're killing it, God told me to kill this person. No, you need a better reason to kill somebody. I mean, there's you don't really get to choose what is what righteous murder is. It's like it really comes down to self-defense or I don't know, make an example, but then, sorry.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, it's different when it's on someone else's channel. I definitely want to get you on my show eventually, so we can speak completely freely. But yeah, I mean, it was a great chat, man. Why don't you tell people where to find you online? But also, I want to hear, like, who have you been having on your show lately? Like, how have your latest shows been going? And tell people a little bit about your podcast.
I'm doing a long series with a gentleman named Thomas 777. He's a revisionist historian on World War II, revising, looking at revisionist history on World War II. I just started today, like right before we did, earlier today, I did not a stream, but I recorded with Radical Liberation, who is Stephen Carson. And check out his channel. It's really good on YouTube. And we're starting to read through this book, The Populist Illusion by Nima Parvini. Okay. And he goes by Academic Agent. And it's just basically.
Oh, it's Academic Agent. Okay.
Yeah, it's Academic Agent wrote that book. Yeah. And he goes through, it's basically about elite theory, about how elites are always in charge. And and basically that the idea that you're going to have like a bottom-up revolution of the people is a joke. It's never happened, not once. Even the Russian Revolution in 1917 was financed by elites. The American Revolution was financed by elites. And so Stephen and I started earlier today doing we did the introduction in chapter 2, and then with Oren McIntyre, I'm doing chapter 3, talking to Nima to come on, Academic Agent, to do chapter 4, and then I'm just going to go through that. So try to do a lot of readings, because I know people just don't read a lot anymore. So if I read the book to them and comment on it, they'll listen to it. I did it with Ted Kaczynski's Manifesto last year.
Wow.
I did it with Vladimir Lenin's State and Revolution, because most people say they know what communism is. They have no idea what communism is. So let's read a communist and figure out what he says it is, especially the most, the guy who like literally defeated his enemies, so let's hear from him. And so that's what I've been doing lately. It's the Quinones show, and I have a Substack. It's PeteSubstack.com. And most of the time on the Substack is just culture war stuff, talking about just how absolutely bizarre and inverted reality has become with these leftists.
Yeah. Well, you're a good guy to have around, man. I really like your written work, and I think you got really good takes, and it's good to talk about this stuff. And we hadn't really gotten into the faith that much, so it was just good to talk to a Christian, man. And thanks so much for coming on. I'd love to talk to you again. Okay.
Thanks, brother. You take care. All right.
Have a good one. All right. Take care, man. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right. Dang. I love that guy, man. That guy is so on point. What you guys think? Let me share this audio. Dog. Pete Quinones, everybody. Sorry to put this up on the screen. I didn't mean to have it up there. Jesus was not a socialist, no matter how many times you accuse him of it. Jesus was Jesus, man. I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of the socialist, capitalist, black, white Jesus thing. Pete is so great, man. Yeah, that's me in the chat. Let me put Pete's Substack in there too. Yeah, I have a couple of Pete's books as well. He from like 3 years ago or something like that. Always has interesting takes, man. He's really on point, man. Got to get him to church. Yeah, I hear what he's saying, man. I'm not here to like. Usually when I'm interviewing and stuff like that, I try to not even give what you would call like pushback. I try to ask like 1 or 2 questions. If I disagree with something, I try to ask like 1 or 2 questions about it, and then we move on. But, I get what he's saying about the organizational church, man. It's bleak out there, man. It's rough out there for the organizational church, but we're called to do it, So... yeah, that's a good fella right there, man. You can tell he loves the truth. And I think that if you're a libertarian and you don't become like just anti-left eventually, you're like useless. if you don't become more anti-left than you are libertarian, I just think you're useless in the long run, politically useless. You know, freedom, if you're completely moral, freedom's a good thing. Not completely, no one's completely moral, but if you're a moral population, a population that strives for morality, if you strive for morality, man, then libertarianism is fine. Are you saying we're not streaming on both channels? Oh, that's fine. Got to be respectful. Not sure about 50,000 denominations. If I'm on both channels, it's all good. If it's just me talking in there. Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, it is what it is. But we're still on both channels, right? Yeah, okay, we're good. All right. But what I'm saying is, like, freedom's just another word for no. Free's a weird one, man. It's about right and wrong. And if you don't just become anti-left, if you identify more with libertarianism than anti-left, then you're useless, man. And that's what happens when you have these like shows like Based Politics with you know, Brad Homo Colombo and whatever her name is, Hannah Cox. It's like you're just useless. These people at Reason, these people at Cato, these establishment libertarians, they're just useless, man. So I like Pete, man. He's anti-left and he's a dissident. That was good to hear him say that, because like last time I talked to him, he said he was right-wing. You know, and, you know, I think that right-wing, it's like you stand for order. To be right-wing, to be correct-wing, you stand for order. Okay? And who stands against order more? Like, Satan himself opposes order. That is the ultimate subverter of order and morals, is Satan. So it's like, you know, it's like, dare I say, I know just to, like, I don't want to blaspheme, and I don't want to be this level of hypocrite, but like Jesus, by my definition, Jesus was right wing in that he was about order. He was order himself. So I actually think that correct wingism, right wingism is order. It's pro moral order. So when I say right wing, I don't mean like Dan Crenshaw. I don't mean like Tucker Carlson. I mean, Tucker Carlson is right-wing in that he's pro-order. He's pro-hierarchy. But that's when I say correct wing, I do mean Christian. I mean, I think there's one true God, that there's one true way, there's one true king, and it's Christ. And in that way, Jesus was right-wing. I don't mean George Bush is a right-winger. 9. I mean, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And left-wingism is wrong, dude. Jesus started a religion. It mentions religion in the Bible. That's not really true. It says Christianity is the true religion in the Bible. I looked it up the other day. It says it in 1 Peter, I believe. So make sure you follow Pete. I'm going to put his information in the chat again. Hopefully he gets a little bump from this. Follow on Twitter. Yeah, this is Pete Quinones. His link tree. He's on Twitter as well. He's one of the many fallen soldiers that have that have gotten, you know, nuked from Twitter over the years. I'm not sure if this is what you're saying I did wrong, but I feel so bad for the QAnon people, dude. It's just, oh man, when these people told me that they think Trump is going to be Speaker of the House, and I didn't even put up a mumbling word fight. I was like, yeah, I hope. I hope. You know, like, do I hope though, man? it's so hard to navigate this stuff. I mean, I do think but the reason I like Trump one of the reasons I like Trump so much is because the left hates him. But he's got his issues. He's a guy. You saying bruh about what I just said? Yeah, I don't know what to say. There's only one. I'm putting it in the chat, and it's showing up on both on my screen. So if people aren't getting it, then people aren't getting it. But Pete's stuff is also below in the show description in both on both channels. This will be uploaded only to Last American Pubcast, though. Been pretty good. Yeah, you didn't know about that? You didn't know about that? Might be wrong. The Q people think that Trump's about to be Speaker of the House. This lady at the Trump store in Georgia, me and Pete just talked about it on air. Lady at the Trump store, a dude at the gas station by me. They're like, dude, this guy said that they already executed James Comey. They're like, notice you don't hear from James Comey anymore. I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Come on, man. I'm like, dude. I mean, how many times? I'm not going to lie. I never followed Q, but I followed the election, right? And I did listen to some of the wrong people around the November 2020 to March 2021 time frame. And there was some people that even post I talked about it on my show, post inauguration. It was supposed to be March 15th. Then it became May 20th. Then it became August 20th. And after the March one, I was like, nah. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, of course. I wish it was true. Yeah. I wish Q was true at the time. Yeah. And if you go to some of their websites, like stormcloudsgathering.com or whatever, I mean, it's always the storm, which is interesting because that a lot of neo-Nazis or whatever word are they're about Stormfront and the Daily Stormer. I mean, I don't even know what to call those types of people, but it's pain. In pain. It gives me pain. You know that scene from Roger Rabbit where he's hitting himself on the head with no pain. It's like everyone becomes a self. What's the word? No. What's the word for a person that loves pain? But I don't love it. Day of the Pillow. So on my show, we have a pool going on to see how long Biden's going to remain in office. Day of the Pillow is not going to happen. When's CPAC? February? I can't wait to cover it again. I got to do more events. Is JFK Jr. going to be president or secretary of state? Yeah. Masochist. Sadist is what I was thinking about. But no, the masochist is they're the both. No, a masochist is you enjoy self-pain. Sadist is one that enjoys inflicting pain on others. A masochist is what I'm talking about, yeah. If you run a live stream like me, you got to be a little bit into the pain. You got to be into it. Stop it, Grimy. Stop it. Gaypox was trending, by the way. Couple funny moments with Pete early on. Not going to mention it. Don't want to draw too much attention to it. Oh, man. I love live streaming, man. I got to get out there and do more IRL events. What's another one I should cover? Let's see. We're in July right now. I could do a Trump rally. I'm doing CPAC in February. I might try to get to D.C. in no, I don't care about the midterms. Certainly in 2024, I'll get out to D.C. What are some other IRL events I can do? Yeah, that was an oof. Yeah, Jedi knows what I'm talking about. Oh, man, yeah. But I literally would, my life would be in danger if I went to D.C. right now. The pain is the only reason you know you're alive. Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Yeah, but no one believes me. What's another? Yeah, CPAC. There's really not much. I mean, there's rallies and there's CPAC, but what I need to do is go to one, like the ones that get the most publicity are ones that are organic. Like when I went to the George Floyd ones in 2020, that was organic. And it was like, hey, it's on now, let's go. And I'm not really that close, not that it matters. I'm not that close to places where it might pop off. I guess you can't predict that, right? But it's like on the left, what it is it's when there's a race thing. On the right, it's when it's like a rally or some sort of protest or something like that. The statues and memorials not debate, but like that's kind of a dead issue now at this point. But I got to do more of that. 2024 DC, though, unironically, DC 2024 for the election. I'm about to be there for sure. Yeah, I need to close up some business first, if you know what I mean. I look so tired, dude. Oh, I love you guys. Episode 2 of Correct Wing Weekly. Wednesdays at 5. Yeah, we'll be back next week trying to look for a good guest. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you can DM me or suggest people you want to get on the show. I'm trying to punch above my weight class. So, people that are correct wing have something to say in the right wing sphere. You give me a follow, send me a DM, or tag me with someone. I'm trying to get Alex Stein on here. I can call that in. I mean, he's been on my show a few times. But I might try to get a round table next week. That might be cool. Get some other right wingers on here. Anyway, big shout out to Pete Quinones for coming on this week. That was really fun. Frank the Tank, let's be frank. Thank you as always for giving me a platform. I do appreciate it. I love you, bud. This will be uploaded as a podcast to Call Me Ignorant on podcast platforms, but more importantly, it will stay on Last American Pubcast. That's where we're trying to build things up. So you guys have a fantastic week. I will see you next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Come up with a cool show premise or something like that. Y'all know what it is. Peace. Love you, folks. Have a good one. See you when I see you. Have a great week.